How about them Cowboys?
Angry Cowboys Fan. Born to battle. Start just means we never sell. America's team through thick and thin. When the sun shines bright, that's where we win. Angry Cowboys Fan.
What's going on, Cowboys Nation and Angry Cowboys fans around the world? Y'all know who it is. It's your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan, and it has happened, Cowboys Nation. According to the Dallas Cowboys, they have placed the franchise tag on breakout wide receiver George Pickens. Not just any franchise tag, Cowboys Nation. Let me find out that Jerry and Stephen Jones has been watching the Angry Cowboys Fan YouTube channel because they are placing the non-exclusive franchise tag on Pickens, a tag that I was asking for. So let's talk about how this favors the Dallas Cowboys in a huge way during this Raw and Uncut. Get ready for the Angry Cowboys Fans Raw and Uncut.
I'm keeping it real. Man, keep it real. That's real.
All right, Cowboys Nation, pardon me, but I got to pop my collar on this one. I mean, I don't mean to brag. I don't mean to pat myself on the back. I don't mean to peacock, but I got to do what I got to do on this video, Cowboys Nation. This decision was a no-brainer, Cowboys Nation. This was exactly what the Dallas Cowboys should have done. If you've been rocking with the Angry Cowboys Fan YouTube channel, you would know that I've been making content saying that the Dallas Cowboys should consider using the non-exclusive franchise tag on George Pickens, and according to DallasCowboys.com, the Cowboys did exactly that. Now let's talk about how this was the perfect move to make for the Dallas Cowboys. I've spoken about what the non-exclusive franchise tag does for the player, his agent, as well as for the Dallas Cowboys organization. Placing the non-exclusive franchise tag on Pickens, it allows other teams to place their bids on his services. It allows athletes first to be able to field potential offers for Pickens. Whatever team bids the most, it'll be sent back to the Dallas Cowboys to either match, outbid, or walk away from altogether. If George Pickens signs an offer sheet with another team, said team will have to surrender their next 2 first-round picks to the Dallas Cowboys. First and foremost, this is a good faith thing that the Dallas Cowboys did for athletes first as well as George Pickens. It gives them the chance to negotiate with other teams where the exclusive franchise tag would have shut all that shit down. They get to go out there and they get to actually see what George Pickens' worth is to teams across the league, and it may pose as a dose of reality to athletes first. What does this non-exclusive tag do for the Dallas Cowboys? It gives Trevor Smith, David Mulugeta, and George Pickens the opportunity to see what his worth would be in the open market. There will be other teams that bid for his services, but it also gives Jerry and Stephen Jones the leverage in this entire negotiation process now. The leverage to see what the asking price would be and to outbid those teams. The non-exclusive franchise tag can also be presented as a scare tactic for any other team that might be thinking about going after George Pickens. If Pickens was on the open market, any team would have been able to place a record-breaking figure on the table, and there wouldn't have been anything that Jerry and Stephen Jones could have done about it except match it or allow George Pickens to walk out the front door. In this situation, not only will a team have to outbid the Dallas Cowboys, but they'll have to give up some premier draft capital in the process. And I know there's a number of people who want the Dallas Cowboys to come up with this whole crazy-ass trade scenario for Max Crosby. Still, Cowboys Nation, I have a feeling that this narrative is going to be pushed heavily now that George Pickens has been placed on the non-exclusive franchise tag. I've had a feeling that they'll allow the Raiders to keep one of their first-round draft picks so that they can secure their future franchise quarterback in this upcoming draft while we get Max Crosby in the process. I'm going to tell you like this, Cowboys Nation. I am not with it. It's just another way to tag and trade Pickens for Max Crosby, and I'm not a fan of this whatsoever. But like I said previously, this franchise tag may also scare a lot of teams from George Pickens. Not only will they have to give up 2 premium first-round picks, but they would have to sign George Pickens to a high number. I don't foresee any team offering George Pickens $32 million without the Dallas Cowboys matching that offer. If a team were to win in the bidding war, it would have to be around the number that has been thrown around the internet, and that's $40 million. At that point, I feel like the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't match that offer, and I don't blame them one bit. But what team would be willing to give up that much money while also giving up such draft capital in the process? Thinking this way, it kind of limits the playing field when it comes to teams willing to bid for George Pickens. Teams that are looking to rebuild aren't going to just give up 2 premier draft picks for one player while also putting such a number on their salary cap. On top of that, people can say what they want, but George Pickens isn't going to go to a team who's currently in a rebuild or who has a questionable person at the quarterback position. He came from that type of scenario in Pittsburgh, Cowboys Nation. I feel he would either want to stay in Dallas or go to a team that's in contention. Then Jerry and Stephen Jones can use their typical tactics in order to sway the negotiations into their favor. A number of teams that are in contention, they're also in states that have state income tax. If Pickens wants to go play for the Kansas City Chiefs, they'll have to outbid the Dallas Cowboys while also accounting for the state income tax. Same goes for the Philadelphia Eagles, the Los Angeles Rams and Chargers, the Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears, and the Green Bay Packers. So if the Dallas Cowboys were willing to give Pickens $34 million, these teams would have to shoot higher to make it worth his while to leave Dallas. But they're teams in states that don't have state income tax. Obviously, Texas, Washington State, Nevada, Florida, and Tennessee. Sure, I can see the Houston Texans or the Seattle Seahawks trying to throw their name into the Pickens sweepstakes. Other than those 2 teams, you have the Miami Dolphins and the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans that are next in that no state income tax list. But I don't foresee Pickens going to a team with a second-year quarterback like Cam Ward or with a team that doesn't currently have a lock at the quarterback position like the Miami Dolphins. The Jags, Texans, and Seahawks would be the only teams I could see acquiring him that doesn't have a state income tax currently. And knowing those teams are the teams that you would have to choose from, would it be advantageous to make the jump for George Pickens? I mean, it would be advantageous for athletes first, but what Pickens and everybody else needs to realize is that Trevor Smith and David Mulugeta work for George Pickens and not the other way around. It's not up to his representation where he eventually lands, Cowboys Nation. It's up to Pickens himself. They could go into this non-exclusive franchise tag, but if the juice isn't worth the squeeze, why would they want to sign with any other team? But this decision also handcuffs athletes first in the process, Cowboys Nation. If George Pickens was a straight-up free agent, Trevor Smith and David Mulugeta could ask for the highest dollar amount to any team that was interested in his services. They could shop him around and be the ones who determined his amount. With this non-exclusive franchise tag, though, it takes their ability to do that right out of their hands. The league will determine George Pickens' worth and not his agents. But Cowboys Nation, the route that Jerry and Stephen Jones chose to take was the right one considering what they're up against. If you're going to lose a premier player like George Pickens, you better be coming with some great compensation. His trade value was at a second-round pick, Cowboys Nation. Doing it the way that Jerry and Stephen Jones eventually did it, it makes his value even more to a team that wants him on their squad, as well as for the Dallas Cowboys organization. But an encouraging bit of news coming from Clarence Hill Jr.'s post on X talking about George Pickens. The post read, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones met with George Pickens in Dallas on Thursday before flying to Indy for the scouting combine on Friday. Jerry Jones wanted to let Pickens know firsthand about the tag and how much the Cowboys valued him and wanted to keep him, per Vice President Stephen Jones. We couldn't take the chance on losing him, Stephen Jones said to DLLS Cowboys. George was fired up excited. He said, I don't want to play anywhere but with the Cowboys. That's what we suspected. It was all good. This sounds encouraging, Cowboys Nation. My fear is that his representation will try to get in his head to try and get him pissed off about being franchise tagged. Right now, we're seeing a person who truly wants to stay in Dallas, who truly wants to be a Dallas Cowboy for a long time. Someone who hasn't put money above everything else. So the future looks bright, Cowboys Nation. Let's hope that it's a future where Cowboys fans could go out and purchase a George Pickens jersey without the fear of him being traded or being released in free agency. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan. Cowboys Nation, how do you feel about the non-exclusive franchise tag that was placed on George Pickens? Do you think that the Dallas Cowboys will end up on top, signing this man to an exclusive deal? Y'all know how we do. We always talk about it in the comment section. If you're digging this content and you want to help the channel reach its current goal of 20,000 subscribers, drop a like on this video, share with anybody that you know is a Dallas Cowboys fan, and if you're on your mobile device and you haven't used them up yet, make sure you hype this video. Doing so will help get this content out to even more Dallas Cowboys fans. They'll come over to the Angry Cowboys Fan YouTube channel and want to become Angry Cowboys fans themselves. And if you are DC for life and you feel that Jerry and Stephen Jones ultimately made the right decision when it comes to George Pickens, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to be notified whenever I go live, release a video, podcast episode, or film breakdowns. You can catch the Madden 26 or College Football 26 gameplay on the other channel, the Angry Cowboys Fan Gaming Channel. I'll make sure I put the link to that as well as the gamer tag in the description. The decision might have pissed off athletes first, but nobody in Cowboys Nation gives a damn about athletes first. This is all about what George Pickens wants to do and not about how much y'all can line your pockets with his money. All I ask is that Jerry and Stephen Jones don't give their leverage up trying to do a trade for Max Crosby. That would be the dumbest thing in the world. Take this non-exclusive franchise tag and the leverage that comes with it and use it to your advantage. But this has been your man, the Angry Cowboys Fan, and I'm out. Dang, Angry Cowboys Fan, you done made it through the entire video. But if you want more content, you can definitely go to this video right here. Or if you want the latest episode of the Angry Cowboys Fan podcast, you can go right here. But whatever you do, like, share, and subscribe to the channel, but remain DC for life.